All right, welcome to your 7.9 videocast. I have my lovely class here to help me with this screencast. So, the essential question is going to be, how can you add fractions with like denominators using properties of addition? So, first of all, we're going to look at the connect. It says the associative and commutative properties of addition can help you group and order add-ins to find sums mentally. You can use mental math to combine fractions that have a sum of 1. Okay? So we have two different properties here. The commutative property of addition and the associative. Okay? The commutative property of addition states that when the order of two add-ins is changed, the sum is the same. So we've talked about that quite a bit, actually. 4 plus 5 is the same thing as what, class?
5 plus 4.
Okay. Doesn't matter what order you say it in, it's going to be the same thing. Does that ring true for multiplication too?
Yes.
Okay. The associative property of addition states that when the grouping of add-ins is changed, the sum is the same. So, for example, here we have 5/8 in parentheses plus 4 is equal to 5 plus 8 plus 4. So, the grouping, so here, 5/8 is going to be, okay, sorry about that. So, we have 5 plus 8. Here is going to be the first thing that you do. And then here, 8 plus 4 is going to be the first thing that you do. But you're going to end up getting the same answer. Okay, so let's move on to unlock the problem. The map shows 4 lighthouses in the Florida Keys and their distances apart in miles. The Dry Tortugas Lighthouse is the farthest west, and the Alligator Reef Lighthouse is the farthest east. So they even have a little map for you. What is the distance from Dry Tortugas Lighthouse to the Alligator Reef Lighthouse, traveling between the 4 lighthouses? Use the properties to order and group. So you're going to add these mixed numbers, right? These are mixed numbers because they have a whole number and a fraction. Okay? So it's telling us to add these. And that would be equal to... Basically what it's saying is that you can switch around the order, okay? So they're saying that you could use the what property to switch around the order? Commutative property to switch around the order. So let's put 70 and 5/10 first, and 34 and 5/10 next, and 43 and 6/10 next. Okay? So it says that if you use the commutative property to order the add-ins so that the fractions with the sum of 1 are all together. Okay? Then you can use the associative property to group the add-ins that you can add mentally. Okay? So which one of these add-ins could you add mentally easily?
34.
34 and 70 probably would be the easiest for me to add mentally. Okay? So let's put 70 and 5/10 here. And 34 and 5/10 here. And then we're going to add our 43 and 6/10. Okay? So this is basically, even though we're mixing around the order, we're still going to get the same thing because of these properties. So we know that 70 and 34 is easy to add in our heads, isn't it? Because you're just going to add the 7 and the 3, which is
10.
Plus the 4.
14.
What just happened? 70 and 34, so 4. So 104, sorry. And then we have to add the fractions too. 5/10 plus 5/10 is
10/10.
10/10. Good, Noea. So 10/10
That's one whole.
is 1 whole. So cross that out and add that to your 104. So it technically would be 105 because your fraction just turned into a whole. And then what do we still have left to add?
43.
43 and 6/10. So now we can just add the whole numbers. So we have 105 plus what?
40.
Plus 43. 5 plus 3 is? 4 plus 0 is? 1 plus 0 is? 148, but don't forget your fraction. What's your fraction? 148 and 6/10. So the distance from the Dry Tortugas Lighthouse to the Alligator Reef Lighthouse, traveling between the 4 lighthouses, is?
148.66.
Why in the world are we reorganizing these? How does that help us?
Because when you reorganize, it helps you mentally add stuff.
'Kay.
Because if you add those all together, it's really hard unless you stack them. And it's hard even if you stack
Okay. So as a student that is smart about math, you can look and find the ones that are easy to add mentally and put them in the parentheses and do that first, and then add the other one second. So you're kind of saving yourself some computation if you can do part of it in your head. And we can do that because we know of these properties. Okay, so now if you turn the page, you're at the try this. You're going to use the properties and mental math to solve. So show each step and name the property that you use. So you're actually going to write the properties out to the side. Okay, so first we have 1 plus 1/3 plus 2 plus 3 2/3. So we are going to use the commutative property. Okay. So, sorry about that. We are going to use the commutative. So write that over to the side. Property. And we're going to switch this 2 plus 3 2/3 around to put the mixed number first so that it's next to the other mixed number. So we're going to do 1 1/3. We're going to leave that part the same. But the commutative property tells us that we can switch and put the 3 2/3 first, and it will still give us the same exact answer. So get that down. Basically, we're just switching those two that are in the parentheses. And then you could probably infer that the next property we're going to use is the associative. Now, I'm thinking in my head, these two mixed numbers would be really easy to add together, and then all I'd have to do after that is just add the two whole numbers. So the associative property tells us that we can switch where the parentheses are at, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to switch the parentheses. We're going to write 1 1/3 plus 3 2/3, close parentheses, plus our two whole numbers. Okay? So now all we have to do is add our mixed numbers and then add our whole number in after that. Okay? 1 1/3, so add your whole numbers first. 1 plus 3 is?
4.
4.
4.
1 plus 2 for our numerator is? 3. And our denominator is?
4.
3.
But you can't do that.
Okay, class, is it okay for us to have a fraction as 3/3?
No.
Because we know that 3/3 is equal to what?
1.
So I'm going to change that to 1, and it's going to become 4 plus 1, so it's going to be 5. And what can I not forget here? Add 2. 5 plus 2, so this is equal to 7. Okay? All right, I hope that helps make sense. Basically, what you're going to do is the commutative property and the associative property are going to help you rearrange things so that you can do things mentally first and then add in whatever else you need. So it's just making things easier on you, okay?
Yep.
Share and show. Start with numbers 5 and 7 and complete numbers 1 through 7.
Not 1 to 7.